since House District 10 had conservative representation in Austin. It's been a long time since House District 10 had somebody who lived in the district representing them. I get to say that because Mr. Jim Pitts gave money to my opponent in this last election. There are a lot of people down in Austin who are very serious about stealing your liberties, your freedoms, and taking money from your pocketbook. They have an agenda, and they believe that they can spend your money better than you can. That they can keep you safer than you can keep yourself. And they will not stop. They are okay with making small incremental changes, and that's usually the way that it happens, isn't it? One little step at a time. Just one little thing. I remember there was a bill that came up, and it dealt with newborns and congenital heart failure. And there was a little device that they wanted us to purchase, pay for, and would require that every doctor would run this little test on all of our newborns. Sounds like a good idea. Just $85, they said, will save lives in the state of Texas. That's the way they do it. $85 at a time. Just a little foot in the door of the relationship between you and your doctor. Getting involved in your health care. Getting involved in how you protect your family on Second Amendment issues. All across the spectrum, these folks are fundamentally tearing away at what the founders of this state and this country intended it to be, which was a place for liberty. I read an article the other day in a local paper here that was attacking TJ. And what were the two words that they used? Obstructionist and...
Oppose. Obstruct and oppose.
As if it were a negative thing. And I had to laugh. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we will not turn this ship around until we stop it first.
Amen.
And make no mistake about it, that is exactly why the establishment and the Good Old Boys Club are scared to death of that man right there. Because they know that he's going to go down to Austin and represent you instead of them. And they don't like it. They hate it. And if you think that they have shown their might yet in this race, you are sadly mistaken. They are coming. They are coming to defeat TJ. Because TJ represents you. TJ represents your voice. And that's not what they want in Austin. How do they know this? Because he puts it up on a sign and says, I'm a conservative? Every single person in the Republican Party right now was a Reagan conservative since they were 2. That's what I hear over and over and over again. But the difference with TJ is that he's actually been in the fight. They've seen him. They've seen him run with pennies on the dollar against their guy before. They have seen TJ at the inauguration backing David Simpson and fighting for liberty even when he didn't have a vote. They've seen TJ stand against a sea of orange shirts during the pro-life rally with a sticker over his mouth that said life. TJ has been in the fight for years now. I want to tell you something that a lot of people don't know, and I don't even know if you remember this, TJ. But when I decided to run for office the first time, TJ Fabby was actually one of the first phone calls I made looking for direction. I called TJ Fabby up because he had been in the race against Jim Pitts at that time for about 6 months, and some of our mutual friends on Facebook were supporting him, and he seemed to have some momentum, and I had no idea what the heck I was doing. And I called TJ and I said, TJ, what do I need to do? Run for state representative. And it's funny now looking back, but the point is that TJ has been in this fight for a long time. TJ and his family have paid the price for liberty already. They have bled. They have sweat. They have spent money that they probably shouldn't have. Fighting for this opportunity, not for self-interest, not to pad his own pocketbook. This probably doesn't help his tree service business at all. But he does it because he believes in you. He believes that liberty matters. He believes that you can run your life better than the government can. And I know he will fight for this, because if he doesn't, I'm going to kick his rear end. Let me tell you how important it is to have TJ Fabby down there. To have another voice who will not only vote the right way, but actually stand up and fight. That is so important. I remember at the end of session, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but Jim Pitts actually stepped up for an amendment. And what he was trying to do was tie the water bill with the transportation bill to ensure that they would both pass. Because he didn't want to risk one of them, not passing. So he tried to put them both together. And this was already prearranged. He didn't pre-file the amendment. He walked up to the floor, turned it in, and in a matter of 5 minutes, we're supposed to vote on something that none of us have had any time to read. Some of us were like, well, what's going on? It kind of smelled fishy. So we ran to the back mic and started stalling while everybody else was reading the bill to figure out what was going on. Because that's not the way they presented the bill at all. But that takes courage. We knew that everything was going to be against us. I mean, the chair of appropriations, one of the most powerful men in Texas politics, wants this bill to get through. It was going to get through. Until some of us went up there, stood at the back mic, called them out on it, exposed the bill for what it was, and they ended up pulling it down. We never even voted on it. But it required men of courage to stand up when there was a political price to pay. TJ Fabby is one of those guys, and we need him so bad right now in Austin. Before I had an opponent this last time who ended up spending about $500,000 of special interest money against our record, I got excited about TJ Fabby being in the Texas House. And I actually drove halfway to his house and said, hey man, I want to be your first donation for this race. And I think it was the $2,500 that we gave you. 6 days later, my opponent announced against me, and I went, crap. Could have really used that $2,500. But I don't regret it. Because this isn't about just one of us. This isn't about an elected official. It's not about my political career. It's not about my job opportunities as a result of this. This is about the movement. It's about Texas. It's about the last stronghold in this country to fight against the liberal agenda that is being shoved down our throats. It is bigger than all of us. It's bigger than every single person in this room. And there's some very respected people in this room. But I will tell you this right now. The reason I support TJ Fabby is because I know that TJ Fabby would give up this position for himself if he thought it furthered the movement down the road. Amen. He is a selfless person. And he is willing to pay whatever political price they can come up with for your benefit. That is important. Amen. We need it more than ever right now in Texas. Because this is it. This is the last stronghold of this country. This is it. And as soon as this district goes back into the hands of special interests who can buy this seat, it will be gone for a long time. We have to win this election right here, right now, because I'm pretty sure TJ's wife's not going to let him do this again. We have to do it right now. We have no reason not to do it right now. People are hungry for true leadership. People are sick and tired of being sold out by politicians who campaign on one thing and vote another way. They are hungry for this message. Liberty is popular. People have learned the hard way that government can't solve our problems. Most of the time it is our problem. It's time to strike right now, and in this room, we can do it together. We can do it together, and we will. And I appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate you for stepping up and running. Because there's not a lot of people in this world who can say they laid it all on the line. Whether it was their fortune, their name, their family, you have done it, and I appreciate it. I thank you for already being a leader for me and for many others in this